Okay, so first thing here, I'm Jason. I own Infinity Marketing Group. We're an inbound marketing agency. Now the difference, because I get this question every single time, is what's the difference between a regular marketing agency and an inbound? Regular marketing agencies, you can buy anything from them. So SEO, social media, pay-per-click, whatever you want. An inbound marketing agency, we decide what you get. And that's good for you, because if you knew what you needed, then you wouldn't be calling us to begin with. So what we do is you give us a budget, you give us 12 months, and we go nuts. And by the end of that 12 months, you fire us. That's our goal. Okay, because that means you're self-sufficient. It means we did our job. We created infrastructure for you, whether it be website, sales funnels, workflows. We got social media, SEO, pay-per-click. We've got content going out, everything to the point where at the end of that term, you should be able to bring in some part-time novice marketer in-house to just make sure it doesn't burn down. And that's it. Just feed it money. If we did our job, that's what it is. And there's a lot of inbound marketing agencies out there, but far less than regular agencies. So that's the definition. I've owned this company 7 years. I've been in digital marketing for 18, if that ages me any. I think it's been around maybe 20. It was first couple years were complete crap anyway, so it didn't matter. So let's get started. All right, first one. The first major step is to create an information capturing website. Who here thinks they have an information capturing website? Okay. You do, because I made your site. All right. So I guess he's right. All right. Here's the thing. The money's in the list. I'm going to start with this point, because everything I'm going to go through, this entire presentation, is all going to lead back. All roads lead to Rome, and Rome is your list. The bigger your list, the more money you can make. Okay? It's like an ATM machine. Eventually, you just push buttons, money comes out. And that's real. That's not flashy. If you have 10,000 people who sign up to your email list because you're putting out great content, and then one day you say, hey, let us do this for you, how much money do you think you're going to make that next week? How many appointments do you think you're going to have? Right? How many coffee dates or webinars, conference calls, and all that turns into money. So everything is about the list. An information capturing website is the first step. There's 5 major parts to making an information capturing website. You have your layout, your landing pages, your offers, your smart CTAs. CTA stands for call to action, and your smart content. First one, layout. Keep it simple. Okay. Even we have a new website coming out. We do a new website every 3 years, give or take, no matter what. And our new one's going to launch here in a couple weeks, because even we have to adapt to how people are online, and it changes. It is not the same. What people responded to 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago is different than now. Right now, people like simple, okay? Call to actions strategically throughout the site. So a call to action is basically a button that says, hey, schedule a conference call or download this white paper, whatever it might be. And you're going to want those pretty much on every single page. There really should be nowhere that your traffic goes on your website where they don't have an option of giving you their information, okay, which you'll use later. White space. A lot of people, unfortunately, they have so much information they want to tell people. But realistically, most people have already done their research 2 to 3 times before they've even gotten to you, before they call you, email you, anything. That's just the millennial group and the age range coming up right now. That is a generation that grew up on information at the tips of their fingers. So they're going to do the research first. So you want to give them a little bit of room. You don't need to flood them with everything. Okay? They've already looked up some stuff, and they just want to make sure that you know what you're doing. Make sure there's gaps in between images, things like that. Make it to where their eyes aren't darting for every single thing. Most people don't read line by line like this. Their brain and their eyes dart around. So you don't want things in the middle that they're going to miss. Social proof, that's things like if you've been on the news, if you've had an article written about you, anytime you get an excuse to use a logo that's better than yours, do it. Okay? Whether it be a client for testimonials, whether it be any kind of news outlet, anything like that. Social proof is a big deal. People just need to know they trust you. If these guys hired you or if they thought you're an expert, well then so should I. Okay? That's psychology 101. Including graphics when appropriate. I get a lot of websites that will redo, and they are just text, text, text. No one's reading it. If you want to have the text in there, that's fine, but maybe think about infographics, something where they're actually more likely to read the text because it's attached to imagery and things that they can sort out easier. Landing pages. Again, keeping it simple. Landing pages even more so. A landing page is a specific page that you've created from them to land on that's only about one thing, okay? Just one thing only. So if you're doing an ad campaign and you're trying to drive people to your site because you have a white paper you want them to download, that whole site should be about that one thing. In fact, the best format of a landing page is typically a header, and then if you can, a video to the top left, an opt-in area, so name and email to the right, and then below that, explanations of what it is, not above. A lot of people try to describe it up here. No one cares. They want to just see exactly what it is they're getting first. Again, they probably already did the research. If they got to an ad, it's because they were typing it in, right? These people are not, you're not the first stop, most likely. The odds are very low that you're the first stop. So a landing page should be right to the point of only that one thing. It also should not typically be something that you can navigate to straight from the home page. That sounds a little counterintuitive, but you're going to bog down your website if every single landing page you have is also something as a tab on your home page. These are usually used for things like when you're doing paid advertising, so people can get straight there, okay? Content should be short and sweet. Visuals should be memorable. Be funny if you want to be funny. Whatever your culture is of your company, be that thing. Don't try to be funny if you're technical and more professional. Don't try to be professional technical if you're more relaxed and upbeat. Be who you are. It's an outgoing filter. It'll be more relevant clients as well. Also, the button on these landing pages should say something other than just submit. The call to actions, and we'll talk about that in a second, should also be informational and directive, like what you should do. What are you getting out of it? One of ours that we're going to have launch says, send me the link. Send me the download link. Like, now they know that they're getting an email. They know that when they click on it, they're not going to go to a page that's just going to let it download. They know that they're going to get an email, right? So you want to tell them exactly what's going to happen. Send the report, download now, etc. Offers. Who here has offers on their website? Anybody here like have something you can download? What do you have?
Downloadable content, like white papers, that type of thing.
Okay, what industry are you in?
IT,
Okay. Okay, good. Are your offers, do you have these on every page, or is this your home page, just out of curiosity?
On the home page.
Okay, good. So, and then obviously all your offers should be on the home page. Now that, you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. They say, well, let's put the offer on the tab that it's relevant to. No, your home page is the most relevant page, period. Everyone's going to default there. Even if they got somewhere else first through organic search and they ended up on a different page because they clicked on it, they're going to still kind of go see what does the house look like, right? So it should be on your home page and any other page that's relevant after that as well. You want to ensure that the primary offer, like I said, is visible for each page. It should align and answer a question. Everyone here knows what their clients' pain points are, otherwise you wouldn't be in business. Whether you're an employee or you own a company, if you don't know their pain points, then that's a whole different discussion we have to have later. But you should know those top three no matter what. And those top three you should be assigning content to, or something that can help them that they can get with an offer. Okay, so with our industry, a lot of people are asking, okay, well, what is inbound marketing? How does it work? They've heard of it, but they don't know exactly how to do it. We have a whole white paper that just talks about this stuff, and that's on our homepage. When you have offers as well, the biggest thing is you get to trade something for the information. Again, all roads lead to Rome. The money's in the list. If you can get their name and email for whatever you're giving them, then you win. And so do they. Smart CTAs. Forgive the formatting up here. That's only when you upload to Google Sheets, apparently. We'll send you guys the slides later after this, if you want to, this week, and have them so you don't have to take notes or anything like that. All right, smart CTAs, smart call to actions. So if you have, anybody here work with HubSpot, Marketo, Pardot, anything like that? Okay, so with these, and we're going to go over those softwares as well here later, they allow the ability for these call to actions to change up. All right, so you can split test them. This one, so I might have something on my homepage that says download, and I might have a split test where every other person sees download and the other person says send me the link, for example, right? You want to be able to change up and see which ones are converting better. Everything's about testing. Marketing is really just testing, okay? And we should make that difference. Advertising is putting out ads. That's what we call it, advertising. Marketing is about taking the data from all that, adjusting, and then relaunching, all right? So split testing is major when it comes to marketing. So smart CTAs, it will show the ones if they haven't already accepted it, okay? So it also remembers them. It logs their IP address if you're using the right software. So it knows that Jason came to the site, and I saw download, but I didn't click it. All right, let's show him a different one. How about give me the report? Let's see if he clicks on that one. They're dynamic. It's actually a little creepy, to be completely honest, but that's how it works now, okay? It'll follow the user all the way through the website as well. So if you have software, it can pop up on different pages if they haven't done it already. And you can integrate them, like I said, HubSpot, Marketo, Pardot. There's a bunch of different softwares you can use. Smart content. Anybody ever anyone here on a HubSpot's email list? You get stuff from all the time. And I mean, they have great content. Listen, these guys, they get it. They invented inbound marketing practically, okay? I should probably get a commission for how much as I talk about them. But realistically, smart content is, again, if I went there and I downloaded this one white paper or ebook or video series, it already knows that. So there's two things that happens. One, it's not going to show me the same thing twice because that's just a waste of space on their website. It's dynamic, so it'll show me what I haven't downloaded. The second part, it's going to ask me for different information. If I already gave them my name and email and they have that, they don't need that anymore. So now they're like, hey, if you want to download this, how about your zip code, right? How about your company address or the name of your company? And then all of a sudden it just keeps tracking this information onto my file. Before I know it, they know me better than my mom, and they're asking me, hey, happy birthday. I'm like, how do you know? Okay. So they log all this information. So smart content is about changing it out based on where they're at in their buying cycle. All right, step 2, using a multilateral marketing approach. There used to be a time when you could just do social media. You do just fine. You make a killing. You could just do SEO or email marketing or pay-per-click, anything you want. Those times are gone. Unfortunately, it was great when they were here. At this point, everything has to work together. And here's proof of that. Anyone here know anyone who works in a PR firm? Okay, and anybody hear about PR firms now merging with marketing agencies or adding marketing division? Exactly. What about SEO firms? Who here knows anyone who works for an SEO firm? All right. What about merging with pay-per-click firms? Paid digital advertising. Fact is a lot of firms that used to niche out in one thing, they understand that they can't. There's just no way to do it anymore. That one vertical isn't going to help the way it used to. They're starting to merge. You have entire industries now merging together. It's based simply off this one concept. What are the different types? There's more, obviously there's subcategories, but generally speaking, you have SEO, search engine optimization. You have content marketing, video creation, social media management, pay-per-click, not to be confused with a paperclip, which I have heard more times than I care to count. They're like, what's pay-per-click marketing? I'm like, well, you put the papers in there. And then email automation. SEO. There's 3 major pillars. If there's nothing you take away from this entire presentation, by the way, this one right here should be the one you focus on almost more than anything. And the reason being, it's your biggest base. SEO, there's 3 major pillars: relevant, unique, and consistent content. To be completely honest, if you did just that, and then you just stumbled into the rest accidentally and made as many mistakes as possible, you could probably still make really good money. If you're pumping out relevant, unique, and consistent content for your demographic, they're gonna respond. That's just, and Google's gonna love you for it. That's the whole point. They're gonna rank you higher in the search engine, so when someone's searching for what you do, you come up, okay? Quality is gonna be a much bigger factor in SEO. I'm not going to go over too much in SEO only because it's just such a massive topic. Honestly, that takes we're going to have a whole presentation that's just on that. But the basic idea is, again, the relevant, unique, and consistent content to make sure that you're ranking and pleasing the Google gods, as we call them, so that they're bumping you up for free, so you don't have to pay for it. Content management, blogs, articles, infographics, white papers. Blogs are typically your 500 to 800 word things. Articles are somewhere in that 800 to 1,500 word range. They're a little more informational. We post some stuff like on LinkedIn. They're a lot more in-depth. Infographics, again, people are visual. If you really have a lot of text, you're not sure how to break it down, there are great people out there who just take your text and they make it into a visual thing with percentages and graphs and cool images, and people absorb that much better. Here's the thing, if you're writing content, you're spending the time on it, and no one's actually reading all of it, that's bad. That's another thing too, is a white paper is not just a white paper with text on it, okay? You gotta format it. All of our white papers have images, they have these infographics things in there because it keeps the reader reading. Just because you made it, if they only get to the first page, they haven't absorbed it. If they haven't absorbed it, they don't trust you because they don't know enough about that content to label you as an authority, right? So, really important to include images. Again, white papers, things like that, these are usually a bit longer. Don't go crazy in white papers. 1 a quarter is fine. Once every 3 months is fine for a white paper. I would do blog and articles 2 times a week to start if you're not doing it now. And then you can wean off to about once a week. So that's another little tip about the search engines. Google wants to see a fast start, but they're not expecting you to kick butt the whole time. Yeah?
Blog question, does it matter if you write it yourself or if you're sharing qualified content?
Okay, so question was, does it matter if you're writing the blogs yourself or if you're sharing the content? So yes, it actually does matter. But here's the way it goes. So for example, if you're just sharing, you mean like just sharing a link on there or? Okay. Yeah, so something about content management is, again, that goes to the unique part. Now you can take someone else's article and you can share it onto your own platform, you can put it on there, you can have a guest writer, but if that's anywhere else on the internet, Google knows it, okay? They're not thinking you plagiarized, it's just not unique, period. Now, a really good tip though is you find, let's say, 3 articles that you like. Pull the different parts of it that you like, rewrite them, now you have a new piece of content right there. And that happens all the time, there's nothing wrong with that, we do that in conversations. Someone, you hear 3 things about an industry, you pull that information, someone asks you about it, you tell them from what you remember. Yeah?
And you source that individual, ABC talked about blah, 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 and somebody else talked about this so that you're not plagiarizing the content?
Sure, so the question was, and you guys can hear it, but it's for the mic. The question was, do you cite these sources if you are taking from that? If you're copying and pasting, yes. If you're quoting, absolutely. You always cite where it came from. And honestly, it's not a bad thing. Linking out to other articles is good for you. Okay, it's good for them and it's good for you as far as engines picking it up. But what you can do is if you just read an article and you take a certain part and you say, okay, they said this, and I'm going to say it like this. And you take another part from another part and you say, okay, I have a whole idea and a whole flow of all this information from different sources, but I'm just taking the essence of it and putting it in my own words and language. That's your content now. You don't need to cite anyone. I don't need to cite Barb here just because she told me about this thing. I'm like, oh, it was only from Barb. Like, no, I mean, I heard it from many people, and I'm putting it in my own words. Okay. Good questions. Anyone else? All right. Moving on. There's a term in marketing that content is king, and they're right. Video is the emperor that rules all the kings. Video is not necessarily cheap or easy to get going. It's harder to split test because it takes a lot of production work, but video is the emperor. People love video. If you're going to use it in websites, put it, of course, above the fold. Above the fold is anything that's on the screen before they have to scroll. You can use it in your social media. Everyone here has Facebook, I'm sure. Which one do you, when you're scrolling through, which one do you click on more? An image that goes to an article or a video you can play right then and there? See? Video. So social media, SEO, again, that's why Google bought YouTube. That's the whole point. They know, whatever Google does, just assume they've got it down. So they bought YouTube, there's a reason for it, okay? Pay-per-click ads as well. That was the thing I was saying as far as Facebook campaigns, maybe LinkedIn, whatever. Anytime you can pay, if you have a good video that tells a really good story and then there's a good content there to link out to, that'll be good. And email campaigns. Here's a little trick for email campaigns with video for whoever hasn't done it. Don't just put a link in an email to a YouTube video or wherever the video is at. Don't do that. Go to the video that you like, play to the part that is most interesting frame, pause it, screenshot it, put that in the email with text above it and below it. Not at the top necessarily, maybe just a little quick header, because the previews in Gmail and other ones are going to show those first 2 lines. So you almost got to trick that a little bit too. Right in the middle, and then people are going to go, oh, I can play it. Like, and for the most part, not that the technology doesn't exist to play videos in your email, because it does, but it's not very common throughout most platforms. So they still think they're going to watch it right there, but they're not. They're going to click on it. It'll then take them to the video. And even better, if you have a video on a landing page, you hyperlink that screenshot of the video to the landing page. They go there, then they'll click the video again to watch it, and now you have them on your landing page where you can hopefully get their information. All right, social media management. Everyone thinks because they are on social media that they know how to manage social media. It's not true. There's a lot of strategy to this, okay? It's understanding demographics, psychology. It's understanding holidays and work days and where people are at in your own demographic that you're appealing to. Obviously, social media management is great for building awareness, staying on the top of the mind. If you're more B2B, go LinkedIn, right? If you're more B2C, go Facebook. Twitter's kind of a mixed bag because people are on kind of both. One thing to remember about Facebook, though, people think that Facebook is only B2C. Okay, but anyone with a job in this room at 5 o'clock becomes a person again. So really it's just a matter of if you want to hit people who are professionals on Facebook, hit them outside, hit them before 9 and after 5. because they're still that demographic, but they're not really on Facebook. Well, they shouldn't be anyway, during the day, right? LinkedIn, they're allowed to. You can get away with LinkedIn with murder. That's fine, right? Subject matter, if you do social media, you can be seen as a subject matter expert. If you're someone who here is trying to brand themselves specifically. Okay, good. So then what kind of stuff are you trying to brand yourself for, Erin?
I'm a realtor.
Okay.
Residential in Denver.
As a realtor in what?
I do residential real estate in Denver.
Okay. Do you have an angle? Is there anything specific that you offer that you want people to feel about you versus the rest? Is there anything that you've come up with yet? And if you haven't, it's okay, but I'm just curious.
I feel like more to the tech-savvy social media online market, so people that I usually connect with and communicate
Good.
with each other well online.
Okay. The tech-savvy social media market. And that's important to understand that.
That's what sees me noticing, so that's helpful.
Good. And if you haven't asked yourself that question, do it. And even if you work for a company, you'd be surprised how big companies get and people don't ask these super basic questions, okay? So you really want to know who is your market and what niche are you trying to fulfill. Then it's easier to come up with a social media campaign for it, all right? Again, right here too, find the best times to post. That's as easy as a Google search. You can just Google, what are the best times on Facebook to post? Now, don't forget, you know your demographic more than someone who wrote an article. Those are based off statistics and analytics, okay, which are great if you have a general platform, right? But if you, for example, are only in the space where all the people that you would be targeting are IT people and they're locked in a room, they have no cell phone, so there's no computer, whatever. Like there's not looking at it. Well, obviously don't post during business hours, even if it says that demographic should. Know yourself first, know your demographic, but if it's general, look it up because it's as easy as that, all right? And that's when you're gonna get the most results. Pay-per-click. We're gonna go through this a little faster, more or less because this is easily the most complicated part of all digital marketing I've ever come across. So we're gonna go over very broad strokes, and if anyone wants to ask questions after the presentation, I'm happy to field them. It's good for searchers, it's good for search engines. For searchers, obviously, because they are typing in something that they want. So if you are a real estate agent in Denver and someone types in Denver real estate agent, okay, those top 4 listings, by the way, are not organic. They're paid. You pay to play in those top 4. The bottom 4 typically in any listing is also paid. It doesn't leave for many in the middle for organic. So Erin here doesn't really have to necessarily compete organically, which would take years to really hit the top of the list. Yeah, exactly, right? But the paid, if she can pay to play, she gets right up there, okay? So that's good for the searchers because it becomes one of their first results. Search engines, here's a little trick. Google changed their algorithm recently. They actually give you a slight bump in your organic if you're doing paid, which is a total racket, right? But that's just the way it is. So if you're doing SEO really well, now you're like, hey, we're number 5 on the list, great. Start doing some paid, you might actually see yourself jump up a spot or 2. Just because they're like, hey, if they're gonna pay to play, they're clearly more relevant because they're spending more money to be out there. It actually, to be fair, it does make sense, it's just, it looks a little weird. So do some pay-per-click if you haven't already, if you're trying to get some bump in the search engine part. Keyword lists should be relevant, exhaustive, and expansive. Just a pretty fancy way of just saying that any list of keywords, key phrases, which is what people type in, whether it be 1 word, 5 words, whatever, should be extremely relevant to whatever it is. So obviously if you sell cat products, you don't just want to lump in dog stuff. Say, well, maybe someone who has a dog has a cat. Don't do that, okay? Try to be very targeted toward it. Exhaustive and expansive, kind of combine those, but basically get as many of those as you can. And there's tons of softwares and online services that'll help you with this. You don't need to sit there, you can't pull it all out of your head. We do pay-per-click campaigns that literally have tens of thousands of key phrases that we filter through. There's no way you're pumping that out of your head just by thinking how many different ways can people type something. Okay, so use all the different tools you can. And if you have any questions about those tools, I can tell you about those later, and you can find them. Managing the pay-per-click campaigns, adding keywords, that's obvious. Adding negative keywords, not so obvious. Sometimes there's things you don't want them to type in because you might have a key phrase that's relevant to something else. In the English language, words mean different things all the time with the same word. So you want to take a phrase that might use that word in the wrong way and put it in as a negative keyword. You don't want to be spending money on things that people are typing in that are actually completely opposite of what you're trying to sell, right? Splitting the ad groups. This is not the same as split testing. Splitting the ad groups here, what we're talking about is to improve your click-through rate. you want to get more granular with your ads. So for each major topic, you want to get more ad sets for that one thing. So you want to go lower into it. Don't just make general categories and a couple ads. Make them very specific. Now, again, building this out, you're never done. There's no, I'm going to build a campaign and then I'm going to launch it. No, you're going to start the campaign and launch it, and then you're just going to build literally forever. That's just your new job in life. That's how big these can be. And then you're split testing. So then you're testing ads themselves and saying, well, if I said it this way, do they click on it more than if I say it that way? Okay. So like I said, this gets so deep, but we'll go through a little quicker here. Costly pay-per-click keywords. So sometimes you might be actually making money on a keyword, but it's $100 a click. If you think that's not possible, try being an injury lawyer or an insurance company, right? Good luck. Those are insanely expensive clicks. Now, even though you're making money, if you're making way better ROI in these other ones, ditch the big ones, okay? Because it's so exhaustive of your budget that it's not going to be worth it. So find the ones that either A, are obviously cost you money, or B, even if you're barely making money, if they're just too expensive, just get rid of them. Trust me, you're going to be better off putting more money into the other ones, okay? Last thing is something that people almost never remember because they're so involved in their campaign, they're just stuck in their Google campaign or Facebook that they don't remember to refine your landing page. Again, this is part where everything works together. We have campaigns that will go, and we can do all of the conversion testing that we want. We can do all these split tests. And in the end, they're still landing on a page somewhere. And if that page sucks, no one's buying anything. You spend all this money here, and you're a realtor, you just sent a bunch of people to a dirty house, okay? Don't do that, right? House looks nice first, then invite people, right? That's the idea. Email automation, this is my favorite. Who here has Autoresponder Setup? Cool, okay. I set yours up. What industry are you in? Okay, what kind of, how many autoresponders, like just on one campaign, like how many do you have? 3, 10, 20? How many do you have set up?
I work with our marketer.
Sure.
Often, and I think it's around 10.
Okay. 10's not bad. 5 is a bare minimum to get started. If you're gonna do an autoresponder campaign, which essentially, by the way, for anyone who isn't sure, someone puts their name and email on your website, they hit that call to action button like we want them to, they're going to get their first email is going to be giving them that thing, right? We promise them something, so the first email should kick out the link to whatever it is. After that, now you've got them. Now there's different strategies to email automation. Typically, you want to do a 4-to-1 ratio of give, then take, okay? That's actually a really important thing to remember. 4-to-1, all right? Reason being is right now, no one else likes to be sold. People love buying stuff, but they hate being sold. And the more free stuff you give them, your best stuff too. Not your crappy stuff like, well, I charge for that. No, get that out of your head right now. Whatever the best thing you could possibly tell someone, that is your first free thing. And then you keep going down to your second best and third best, and those are free. Most people are hiring you so they don't have to do it. Not because they're just gonna go, ha, gobble, gobble, knowledge, I'm gonna go do it myself. No, they've got something else to do. That's the whole point of hiring you. So don't worry about giving your best stuff away. But your autoresponder should be set up in a way where those, at least out of the first 5, that's called the first cycle, give them the stuff and then ask for something like, hey, come to the webinar maybe, right? Maybe it's a scheduled conference call or grab a coffee this week like we're gonna do, right? So that's the way you wanna do it, 4-to-1. Should you create a monthly newsletter? Yes, always. Here's why though. Up here, the autoresponders are mostly text. You wanna set an autoresponder like you're typing to your grandma, right? It's just very personal, no images, it's just a regular email back and forth to 2 people, even though it's automatic, okay? The newsletter gives you the opportunity to look more professional. You get to make it a nice template, images, you can have cool, call to actions, download links, it'll link to your blogs that show content, gets them back on your website. So you should do that, and monthly is a really good idea. Honestly, if you have the time to do bi-weekly, sure, but you're gonna kill your list. I'd say that your autoresponders should be spaced evenly, and there's a strategy to that we can talk about some other time. But your newsletter should just be monthly, and it should be the content that you've been creating that whole month. Then you put on your blog page, then you link to it in your newsletter, and the whole cycle begins again, okay? Bless you. Setting a regular schedule. This is just for your own sanity. There's really no other reason for this other than just that it's due by this date, and you got to keep yourself on it. Last one is using email analytics for sales and marketing. Here's a good example. So we have an autoresponder series, and I was looking at the other day, and out of our first 10 that we have, and by the way, you should have like 20 total, okay? because you want to keep making them to where either people unsubscribe, they buy, or they die. Like there's only 3 ways off the list, okay? Unsubscribe, buy, or die. That's it, all right? Those are the only 3 ways out of my email list, okay? But I always give good stuff, so people like to stay. But the analytics are important. So I was looking at my 10, and I had 60, 50% open rates on the first 5, which is great. The 6th one was like 15%, and then they went back up to 50 and 60%. So clearly I have a problem, and just by looking at it, my most likely problem is going to be the subject line, because they didn't open it, because something about that subject line made them not want to. I tweaked it, now everything's back up. So the analytics are important. Make sure you know your numbers. Raise your hand if you see the one you use anywhere on here. Ooh, okay, not a lot of people. Okay, well, how about this? Raise your hand if you don't know. Maybe you're part of a company that uses their own. Okay, so you're just not then. All right. HubSpot has a free version. Okay, I'm pretty sure Marketo and Pardot also do. Most of these have free versions. Zoho does as well. If you're not already using these, get it. The free versions are usually pretty good. I mostly am familiar with HubSpot. There's really good stuff in there, and they're really good for long term. They give you a lot where most people will charge you for. Either way, look into these, okay? Try to find one that matches just your style. Maybe you're a little more technical, like this gentleman here, and you want to really dig in, okay? Infusionsoft's going to be your jam, for sure. Yeah? Oh, sure. Okay, so which kind of phrases and subject lines for emails? Things. Okay, yeah, sure. No, it's a great question. I don't mind going back to that actually. Here, we'll just. No, it's fine. You're fine. So for subject lines, one, don't personalize. So everyone thinks, oh, put their first name. No, it's the first clue that it's a sales email. When's the last time you ever wrote an email to anyone you know and you put their first name in it also? You just don't, and that's the thing. It's these little things that we think of subconsciously that set off these little red flags. So the first thing not to do is don't personalize it, okay? Don't make it so small where it looks like you're baiting them. Like don't put like, quick question. Like that's been overused. It worked 2 years ago. I used the heck out of that, crushed it, and now it's dead. No, I mean I did. Like the email marketing changes so fast, okay? Right now, I'd say funny things are good. Questions can be good. You really have to, if I knew more about the demographic you're going after, we can really like do a battle plan for it. Honestly, it's just testing. Again, you can literally, there's softwares where it'll do a thing where you can give it multiple subject lines. It'll send out to 20% of your list, and whichever one wins, it sends the rest to the 80%. So that's pretty cool too. That's another little tip. There's plenty of, and those are the email service providers like Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact. Almost all those have that feature where you can set up multiple subject lines. It'll just send it to a portion and then pick the winner and go. So that would probably help a little bit too. Okay. So on the CRMs, again, if you're more technical, Infusionsoft is really good. Marketo is a little more technical as well. HubSpot, and this is just how I am. I don't like the technical stuff. I like just the drag and drop, point and click, super easy stuff. I like HubSpot. Zoho is probably most cost effective. They're an Indian-based company, but they actually have pretty good customer service, and they're really their whole new. They have a new dashboard and new everything. So they got a big cash injection, I believe, and they're kind of revamped everything. So Zoho is a really good place to start if you're on a budget, for sure. Salesforce, I hate Salesforce. Sorry. No. I can't. I can't. Too many nightmares with that one. They might have gotten better. I'll never know because I'll never look again. All right. Last couple things again. Things you can do with these automation softwares. A lot of these include everything in one thing. So you might be Frankensteining it right now. You're doing email through Constant Contact. You're doing landing pages through like Unbounce. You know, you've got SEO through one thing. You're doing pay-per-click through Google, and you have all these different systems, and you're paying for them. A lot of these systems have all this in one spot, and it's better if you can. I don't care which one you pick. The more you can bring into one spot, the better, because they start linking together, just like we were talking about with regular marketing. A lot of these you can do social media, SEO, content creation, and there's a feature I know on HubSpot where literally it knows, like, it'll say, here's the content. Well, we recommend saying it like this because we already know that Google is looking for this for low-hanging fruit. I mean, it's crazy. Like, these softwares are so smart now that you can literally do most of the driving for you. Email marketing campaigns, lead generation, lead nurturing, which is realistically, just because you got a lead doesn't mean you go hit them with a sale right away, okay? A lot of these are going to let you just keep them into the funnel, make sure that they have a lot of good information. It'll give you metrics and analytics. and it'll manage activities, which actually I want to go back one. That one right here, highlighted workflow. The biggest thing out of all these, for these CRMs, out of all these, the biggest thing is the workflow. And almost all these do this. There's basically, workflow is just an if-then scenario, okay? So if John downloads my white paper, I send him this email. Then if he goes to the website 3 times or more, we kick him up to sales as a lead that they should call, okay? That's just one version. You can have 10, 15, 20 different, 100 different if-then scenarios and workflows where it can say, okay, if you've gone to the site 10 times, then now we show you, remember the dynamic content? Remember how you can show different things based on what they've done? You can even set up your website where it shows them this offer, and it, creepy as it might be, if you have their name, I've literally gone to a website that said, hey Jason, see you're back again. That was creepy, but awesome. And I was like, thanks, yeah, I totally love to download this. I mean clearly we're friends. So, so that's the way that goes. So again, if you're not already on a system, start small, start simple, get a free version of something, just get antiquated with it. You're gonna need it for the long term regardless. So that's it for all that. What kind of questions does anyone have for me? Yes? So the question was, if you've started with one system, but you've kind of graduated and come into your own and you're actually looking for something more complex and better for you, have we migrated those things before? So yes, it's not easy. You can, here's the problem. You do want to do it. So let me start there. Migrate, yes, do it, okay? It's gonna be a pain in the butt. Each system's a little bit different. It's easy to export the information from one to another. That part's not hard. It's about completely relearning this new system. Now the good news is a lot of the ones that are more expensive, it includes, you know, an onboarding process, right? And they will usually, they know their competitors, so they're more than happy to bring you over. So a lot of these newer systems, if you just call them and talk to their sales department, they'll typically tell you, hey, yeah, who are you with right now? Great, here's what the process we already have in place for migrating that. And they're gonna hold your hand through it, because it's in their best interest. They want you on their side. I could say pay more now for expensive ones, but what if you don't have the money, you know? Like, I've not had the money before. Believe me, there was no like, I'll just pay for things. No, like I've had to migrate myself as well. So that's how I know that, you know, if you have the choice, if you have the ability, if you have the money, go straight for the one you want. Just do it, because trust me, it'll bring you that ROI quicker than you thought, all right? But if you really are on a budget, you're like, listen, I'm just starting out, it's just me, there's no way. Go to the cheaper one, because don't worry, when you make the money, I assure you, whatever you want to migrate to, they will walk you through that and they'll make it easy on you. It's in their best interest. The question was, can you have, make sure I got this right, are you saying multiple like users on one license?
Yeah.
With Infusionsoft, I'm not sure. See, we use HubSpot, but I have used Infusionsoft before, and I'm trying to remember now, because it was like 6 years ago. I don't remember what they had then, but even then, if I did, it probably wouldn't be relevant now. I'd say most of these, though, allow multiple users. So we have a license with HubSpot, and I can add multiple users. Also, a lot of these have different types of users. So you have your pro users, right? So one pro account, I can have, I think, something like 10 regular users under me, right? But if I want any of those users to have access to the features that my pro account, I need another pro account. The question was basically, can you get with other people in your same industry and kind of split the costs if you have, well, or something that's relevant where whatever demographic will be coming in would be relevant to all of you, but there's no conflict, right? I didn't think about that, but that's actually a brilliant idea. If you have, let's say, a real estate agent for one, okay, and then you have, of course, a mortgage person, right? They work together, and then maybe a contractor, someone who comes in and makes the fixes. If all three of you wanted to share, like get a main license and add multiple users, and then as long as you were comfortable with everyone seeing everything. Now, you can sometimes have a main license and sub-users, but in your case, I'd say it's probably better to get an expensive license that is cheaper by splitting the costs that allows multiple users of the same permission base, right? This way, you're all getting all the functionality. So that's actually pretty smart. So if you can figure out either people in the same industry or in different industries that relate to the same demographic to sell, that's good. So the question was, is posting on social channels relevant to the SEO part of the content? Yes. Here's the thing about SEO. Literally everything's relevant. Wherever you post it, it finds it, okay? If it's public at all, it finds it. The only way that SEO is not going to pick up on it is, let's say you have a YouTube video and you click unlisted or private, it won't count it. But if it's public and people can see it, no matter where it's at, it counts. Now, how much does it count? Well, that's just going to depend on how relevant it is and how much traffic is going there. There's a couple other cool tricks too. So there's the top 120 distribution networks for content. So, and that's another conversation for another day. But basically, there's websites and services, and even just yourself you can do where when you get a good piece of content, if you get into these other places like Medium.com, for example, post on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook. Here's another trick. You get a good piece of content that people are responding to. So I do articles on LinkedIn a lot, right? Some might get 10 likes, some get way more. If I think I'm gaining traction on an article, I will literally make a Facebook campaign that talks about that article, because I can drill down to the most specific people on Facebook. That's why pay-per-click on Facebook is superior to almost anything else, because they know everything about everyone. So you can just have these people see it in their newsfeed. And I can promote that article, which then takes them to my LinkedIn article, where my LinkedIn pages, they can just click on my name. Now they connect with me on LinkedIn. Now we start chatting. So there's so many different ways to get a hold of a lead, because everything connects. So I mean, we've tried strategies like that for paying for our articles. We've tried strategies of using automated systems to network. I mean, you name it. But the short answer to your question is, yeah, the more places you post it, but even then, it's about people engaging with it. Google doesn't care if you post it. Anyone can just post stuff, right? If people are engaging with it, that is where you're going to see the rise in it. So don't post for post's sake. Don't say, it's on 100 channels. Like, that's like doing a PR newswire blast. No one cares. In fact, Google, little known fact, will actually penalize, and even then they hide it. You can actually, if you're a coder, you can see it in the code. It's kind of crazy. They'll put it. You can do a PR newswire blast, and they're like, oh, it'll tell you report. It says it's on 150 websites right now. Okay, if you go look at the code of that link of where it's at, it's literally, and it says hidden. I mean, plain English, Google has it in the code, the words hidden, because they don't care, because they know you did that. So yeah, if you had the link, you could go see it, but it's not showing up on their search engines. It's a 0 factor. And if you do too many of them, it's a negative factor. Remember, that's why I said there's no tricks anymore. Okay, I grew up in the era of all the black hat stuff that you could do, the ways you could fool these systems. Okay, I was hacking AOL at 12, right? It's past the statute of limitations, so it doesn't matter, it's recording. But seriously, there was things you could do that were just so easy, like, the backlinking stuff and all these stories you hear about people just gaming the system. And that's why you hear the term Google slap, right? They come a new algorithm. I got slapped. Well, that's because you weren't doing the 3 basic pillars. You can't get slapped. You can't be penalized if you're relevant, unique, and consistent. That's why I advertise that, because you can never have a problem. If you're trying to game the system, the house always wins, okay? Don't do it. Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it. Network and talk around,